Welcome to Speaking of the Voice podcast. I'm your host, Alicia voice actor, DJ, and hypnotherapist. I'm fascinated with the voice, where it comes from, how we heal it, and how we can use it to better express and connect with ourselves and others. This podcast is a collection of conversations exploring the voice, different tools to heal it, what happens when we connect to our most authentic voice, and how we can courageously create profound impact individually and collectively by speaking up from a heart-centered place. Thanks for joining me here. I hope it helps you heal and empowers you to use your voice in a more authentic way. Okay, so we met years ago. I couldn't even tell you which year, maybe 2018, on set of a film, right? That was when Young Lion was in Rochester. You're friends with one of the producers on that film. And then I don't know if I've told you this story, but I was thinking about it after we got off the phone the other day. But I remember when we got to the bar to kind of chat and mingle, I remember seeing you and Nick saying to me like, "Oh, you have to meet my friend Jules. Like, she's super cool." And I saw you, and my cousin was with me, and I was like, that is the most beautiful woman in this room, and I can't believe she's from Rochester. And he was like, "What? Where's she? Who's she?" I'm like, "Don't look now," but she's that girl sitting right behind you. But that felt like the beginning of our friendship, of our connection. Do you remember much about that night?
Yeah, I remember when I met you, we were at the bar
Yeah.
and you were just elated to be talking to me, and you just made me feel so seen. Um, yeah, I remember it just being like a really homegrown, like Rochester moment. Like,
Yeah.
it's so not what I expected for like a movie set, like
Right.
after party to be, because it was just so like down to earth and we were just kicking it. But
Truly.
I can visually put myself there, and
Same.
I remember your energy very distinctly.
Likewise. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, I love when life creates these magic moments of just I'm like, "Oh, that's a sister. That's not just like a
Mhm.
friend or a cool chick. That's a sister." Like I found one of my people. Um, you've grown so much. You've had complete career shifts, although you're still touching the pulse, pun intended, of your initial um journey, like what you initially started on. But can you share a little bit with the class about where you started and what detours you've taken to arrive to where you are now?
For sure. Well, I just want to touch on like when we met and say that I think, like, in hindsight, not only are you just so sparkly and awesome, but I think the reason why we magnetized towards each other is because you were like another artist and creative, and I had never met someone who's like professionally an actress. So you
Oh,
were the first of your kind in that way. But I think I was in a season of my life of really seeking to connect with other creatives, like established
mm,
creatives, because I've always been a creative person. But my background professionally started in healthcare. So I'm a registered nurse. I became a nurse in 2016, but I actually was working in healthcare even before that as a nurse's aide. It was something that I always aspired to do just as an empath and a helper type archetype. And it felt very natural for me to pursue that. But I was also an artist my whole life and always really into the psyche and psychology and looked at things in a really kind of mystical lens. I loved nature. Um, I loved science. I saw magic and science as one and the same. And so even in nursing school, I was like, I'm going to be a holistic nurse. I'm going to do alternative healing, but I'll still get my regular formal training so that I feel like I know what to do and I can really help people. So I've worked in a variety of settings, from like surgery to critical care. I was a COVID nurse working in the ICU during COVID. And then more recently, I started going into integrative medicine. And most recently, I've been working as a ketamine assisted therapy nurse for the last 4 years and doing psychedelic integration. coaching with people. And so my focus in that is largely in the realm of creativity. So using creativity to help regulate the emotions and nervous system. And it's just been this amazing permission slip for me to be really my full self, where I'm like, hey, yes, I have this nursing background, but it's not the totality of who I am. Being an artist and creative is actually the true fabric of my soul, and nursing is just kind of my creative modality, but really healing work is really, um, in its most ancient form, healthcare could be considered like a healing art, and I'm
Sure.
really passionate about bringing that art back because I think that healing work is so individual, and personalized. There really is no one size fits all, so I just consider it now um, as one of my arts, one of my many arts.
No kidding. So, if a client comes to you and they want to work with psychedelics, and you're like, great, my niche is to also support you in a creative way, what exactly does that look like? How would you describe to them that experience?
Yeah. I think that it's all about connecting people with who they truly are and giving them a non-judgmental and experimental space to explore their inner desires, what actually feels good to them, helping to get clear on the little voices inside their heads and the meaningful parts of their story, or if they had a journey, like a psychedelic experience, really helping them hone in on, okay, what exactly happened? And then is there something that you want to translate and bring it out into form? When you bring it outside of yourself, you can maybe better understand it
Mm.
through expression. So everyone's a little bit different. Like some people are really musical and they just want to sing. Some people, they might see beautiful fractals, or maybe they saw some kind of entity or spirit that they really want to express, or it could just be stream of consciousness journaling just to make sense of the dialogue and what the experience is. So, um, yeah, when we open up our consciousness in general in whatever format it is, um, it can be really fleeting and a bit confusing. And it can kind of escape us if we don't really have a way to translate it and look at it and understand it. Um, and I think it also just helps us kind of move the energy around. Like there's these openings of inspiration, and we might see like a vision or we might experience a dream of ourselves being a creative, like, wow, I just want to be on stage and sing. I just wanna create beautiful art, and so I've witnessed people get really pent up with their own creative energy,
Mm.
and I think that in the wake of a psychedelic experience, it can lead us to leaning into maybe more destructive behaviors or habits if we don't give it
Hmm.
that energy and outlet.
Yeah, there's a fragility after coming out of such a big experience like that. Is your work during the session, right after the session? I mean, it sounds like you're really heavily involved with integration, which I find in my own experience and spiritual communities and plant medicine communities. Is lacking. There's such a huge need for that. Otherwise, to your point, it can become detrimental, or missed even. Just like, oh yeah, one time I took a bunch of mushrooms and had this experience, and you're like, oh boy, you missed the point a little bit.
Mhm.
Um, is your work during, right after? Do you work consistently with them afterwards?
So, the creative portion is more on the back end with
Hmm.
integration. Um, so integration is allowing an expanded new perspective to actually create meaningful change in our life. Um, Otherwise, it can feel like you just wasted your time, your money, your energy. And that's kind of how people end up just doing back to back ceremonies and just
Hmm.
opening themselves up, reaching for this like this dragon or this carrot on a stick, rather than really filling that void within them, which I believe that we're all what we're really seeking is to be as close as possible to creation and to the creator, which is ourselves as artists. And nobody's really going to fill that void for you. So you can go into these experiences just kind of going to open up a portal, but it may not have you actually walk through that door. So I really love curating spaces for people to actually walk through that door. And if you go to, like, let's say an indigenous community, like, let's say it's in Peru, one of the main things that the hallmarks of these experiences is a ton of music, singing, breaking out the instruments, um, mindful dinners, and really, which is like a form of creativity, like us creating
Mm,
meals together.
mm,
And also they bring out like a lot of textiles. And also they have a lot of art, like these
mhm.
beautiful shamanic art pieces to just kind of, again, translate or give voice to the thing that is truly voiceless and cannot even be spoken of. It can only be conveyed or translated in this type of way. So anyways, yeah, I would say it's more on the back end of things.
This is so beautiful. You're opening up my own definition of creativity and understanding it in this way. And like we're also really indirectly talking about the voice. Like you went from, and I don't use this word in judgment, but just in like the black and white nature of what Western medicine is, the sterileness of working in a clinic or a hospital, the limitations of the system and of helping people, to the multidimensional, expansive, abstract and ethereal ways that you can be working inside, let's say, the psychedelic spaces, or not even psychedelic, but on an internal journey, like with visualization, with experience. To your point, how do we put words to, how do you explain God? Like
Right.
how do you describe life force energy? Or, it's hard to put words to the sensation of an orgasm as much as, like, it when you feel it, or you could express it in color and in shapes. So to put something invisible into form in a colored way through beads or pottery is another way to, or through music is,
Yes.
yeah, I guess our best attempt to describe something so much bigger than us. I didn't realize this so much about like indigenous jewelry. Actually, ironically, I'm wearing some today. But and this is I got this in the Amazon actually, and they're decked out in this all the time. Normally, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, going out to get some frogs. Like this is just how they. It's not even style. It's armor. It's protection. It's expression. To your point, one thing I did want to say is my experience when I was in the villages in the Amazon. They're singing all the time, sun up to sundown, and well after sun has gone down. Those are some of the happiest chickens I've ever seen. They're freely, truly free roaming the village. They're serenaded to, they're pet by the children. And that is the chicken that you're eating for dinner, but it is the happiest chicken. Like, he died so happy.
Totally.
Imagine,
Yeah.
imagine.
Yeah. Well, this is like what it means, I think, to live in harmonies. So when you're living a more like artistic lifestyle and you allow that inspiration to flow into something that actually takes shape and form, it's also living alignment with nature. So it's like we are creative beings. That is our nature. And then they're also living closely with Mother Nature. And Mother
Mm,
Nature is quite literally creation itself, like the noun, like creation, God. So it's kind of like a spectrum that's like, it's kind of like all one continuum. Yeah, they don't really live a lifestyle that's quite as afflicted by war and violence. And it's an integration where instead of integration, because like psychedelic coaching and kind of the Western framework of integration, I think it can get really heady and feel like this like laundry list of healthy behaviors you have to do. And it's more of like a state of beingness that you
mm.
shift into. There's definitely some structure that you need to have for sure if you want to implement healthy habits. And the other thing is like if they have like they have complex trauma, they're really raw, they're unstable, we're not going to skip straight to like, let's paint a painting, you know? So there's like, that's where like the nurse brain comes in of like, we're always going to move towards safety, grounding, and stability first. That's always like the order of priorities. But it's possible when we hit a blockage that maybe just singing could really
Mm-hmm.
move things around. It also activates the vagus nerve, which is
Mm-hmm.
incredibly powerful. It's like the main nervous system highway throughout the body. It reverberates to your cells a frequency of safety, of love, of oneness with all that is, and it's sourced from within you. So I guess what I'm explaining is like one whole system. And that's why I think just creativity, and like being an artist is like an accessible way to express this kind of like unified paradigm that I'm giving words to, if that makes sense.
It makes so much sense. It's bringing up two things for me. One, I'm seeing how your work is very grounding to an inner experience, how it helps to give it shape. Um, and then I'm also just seeing that we're constantly, as humans, after closing the gap of separation, of returning to that oneness. But without the separation, we couldn't be in witness of or in relationship to. So it's such a necessary condition of the human experience. At the same time, there's sort of this like never ending pursuit of the return, of the remembering, of closeness. Wow, it's bringing new understanding to alone but never alone, and that lonely is actually, it's not a state of being, it's a feeling, and that is also very revealing to me of the difference of like of this separation, of that gap, if you will, too. What are some of the most exciting breakthroughs that you've witnessed in your work?
Oh my gosh. It's kind of funny. So one like this is just like an organic thing that's just blossomed, but having these like nights with my friends where we would literally just get together, paint. I would put on a really cool playlist that like I curated, had the lights kind of dimmed and like
Setting the
colored.
mood.
Yeah, like it's just the ambiance of things. And one of my friends, her boyfriend is someone who has really significant trauma and PTSD, but through us creating art together, like, each person's got their own individual piece of art going, and then we would also have in rotation a shared piece. And then we would take breaks
Mm.
and go outside and have bonfires and sing songs, and then we would share stories. And it was just really beautiful to see him having these breakthroughs in real time. And he literally like he reports back all the time just how much these experiences mean to him and how they've like literally shifted his understanding of so much. And I could see the way that, for example, creating a piece of visual art was helping him piece together psychedelic insights that he had. And specifically, this was a little while ago, so I'm like trying to recall and paraphrase some of the things he said. I saw a lot of light bulbs go off in him that were just really satisfying. Like bringing a piece of visual art to life can feel very godlike. And I don't mean that narcissistically. I just mean like it quite literally, like through our hands, we start to almost bring together like these pixels. It's like the pixels of an image start flowing through, and you start to see the ways in which like the most subtle techniques, almost doing less, can almost bring something to life more. So that's like maybe a download or something that you could experience in like a medicine journey. It's like, actually, if you just are more gentle and you just do a little less, that actually is what generates more beauty, more naturalness. So a breakthrough that I had was about simplicity and how curating these environments that are just so wholesome and so simple can have such a profound impact. Another breakthrough I've really had is about magnetism and how our creative frequency, which is also embedded in like our life story, just kind of like who we are, who we be, is the most incredible billboard for whatever it is you want to create in your life. That our creativity is literally, it speaks for ourselves when we allow it to come out and express.
To flow
Because
through.
yeah, it's that authenticity piece, and I see this a lot right now as AI is evolving so much. We're craving more and more humanity in general and human creation. I think we're just trying to get back to the basics. So for me personally,
Totally.
yeah, the more that I've taken my mask off and stopped trying to be cool, like if I just like I post maybe a video of me hula hooping and it's like not perfect, it's almost what resonates with people more because it's just so human. And then through that, they're like, "Oh, there's a nurse hula hooping." Like, I didn't know she was a nurse. And it's like, "Oh, what's your story?" And then you kind of get into, "Oh, you do ketamine work? Whoa, no way. Tell me more." And so yeah, I'm just learning a lot about magnetism and authenticity and how important it is just take the mask off. Just tell your
Yeah.
stories.
Own
Which your
your
story,
story.
yeah, and I mean, your story is the greatest masterpiece of all. So we all have embedded within us a great masterpiece that you are the protagonist of. So it's not this like thing that you need to go searching for. It's more of like an uncovering, you know?
Yeah, less a doing, more an undoing.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. When did you start getting in touch with more storytelling and story and working with voice in that way, really owning what your experience, what you've been through, and how has that helped you to take the mask off?
Yeah. This is such a great question. Uh, so it kind of found me, but also I had been knowing that I need to share my story. I've been getting like my intuition's like yelling, like, people want to know your story more. You should share it. And I'm like, okay,
Hmm.
yeah, I'll make more content about it. Sure. And then I joined this, and so interestingly, like 3 years ago in the jungle, I had this like huge breakthrough about storytelling and needing to share my version of the hero's journey because
Mm.
there's these different archetypes of the hero's journey. So for example, like actresses or people who maybe were in Hollywood and like entertainment in that way have their own hero's journey. Veterans have their own kind of flavor of hero's journey. Athletes, whatever, right? Like so on and so forth. And so I knew that healthcare workers have their own specific flavor because a lot of us were empaths and it all started when we were children. And a lot of us are like wounded healers. So it's like kind of this like wounded healer hero's journey that I call the healer's journey. So I had been knowing this, but I like had avoided it because I just wanted to be like still hiding in the safety of my nursing license and being palatable for society. Um,
Was there also part of you that was just like, oh, that's not like that big of a deal, or like that no one cares, or like what was kind of your thought around that?
for sure, no one
Yeah.
cares. It's self-centered.
Hmm. Yeah.
Not like the fear of seeming arrogant because like truthfully, I know my story is very powerful. I know it moves people and I fully own that now.
Mm.
But that was not always easy to do and wanting to again, just, like, emphasize the parts that, like, I think society thinks are noble, like being a COVID nurse. Oh my god, healthcare
Mm.
hero. That's what my
Mm.
ego really wanted to lean into, but it's like, that is one dimension of the story, but really, like, there's all these other things that have a lot more with, like to do with who I be, not, like, something that I did. Like, COVID nurse is not who I be. That is something I did. like a milestone.
Mm-hmm. It's all
But
a
anyway,
mask, pun intended.
for show. Yeah, truly, there's like so many funny metaphors within it. Um,
I remember I was sitting at a ceremony at the end of 2021. And so, like, we were all still masked. And it was like this moment of silence. And I didn't say anything for hours. And all of a sudden, I'm like, it was almost like it erupted out of me. So imagine you could hear a pin drop, and I just go, take off your masks. And the whole room went, mm-hmm, mm.
it just feels so good.
Well, I mean, also it just hit so different in that era. Anyway, so yes, please keep going. So once you kind of work through owning it and that it is really powerful to share.
Yeah, for sure. And it's like a timing thing too. Like when you're ready to take off that mask, right? Like I think that probably landed so much because it was like you just hit this like timing that was like everyone's like, ah, yeah,
Yeah.
like a great comedian would. Um, so anyways, I kind of reached this like maturation point. So I have these experiences in the jungle. Tell your story, tell your story. I'm in the jungle also, and they're like, would you like to be part of our rebranding? And they're like interviewing me and they're like featuring me in like all their marketing and like I'm like on their website, like all this stuff. So it was very much like I was real time being coached by, you could say it's the medicine or my spirit or whatever. Like I'm very much being coached into like tell your freaking story. Like get out there, tiger. And I'm like, okay, I'll go at my own pace. So like fast forward 3 years later, I'm like feeling the inner tension of just like all this pent up creative energy, this backlog of creative energy
Yeah.
that's literally like eating my soul. There's this Brene Brown quote that speaks to this, and it's that she says that unused creative energy is not benign. It becomes metastatic. It turns into
Oh,
grief, sorrow, shame. I'm paraphrasing a bit, but
wow. I get
yes,
the gist.
yes. So
Shout
like
out to Brene.
yes. So this is my experience. I'm like, I needed to share my story. Um, not only for my own healing, but just to be of service. And so I do this personal branding mastermind called Creator Catalyst with this girl named Rachel Bell, who is a branding business wizard genius. And the journey that she's walking us through with personal branding, it's like, oh, yeah, I want to make a personal brand and make a bunch of money. It's like, that's cool. We're going to do some inner work and you're going to practice sharing your story and you're going to look at your own hero's journey. It was like so on point, almost like she was inside of my psyche. And I'm like, damn. And it's like looking at your archetype, your myth, who you are. So I end up going through her program and she assigns for homework for us to share our story in a really compelling way. And so I share it as like an Instagram story highlight. It was really challenging at first to get out until I found a way to actually learn how to tell the story because that in and of itself is its own art form. Like we can tell a
Mhm.
story and it can be very like when I was first trying to share it, it was just kind of sad thing after sad thing. And I'm feeling like, man, I might lose the audience because like, wow, they just feel really bad for me, like this poor girl. Or I can share it with like foreshadowing and send you through this like cool story arc and this like Phoenix rising moment. And so I decided to just
Hmm.
become the artist in my story with no embellishment. Like there's no exaggeration or fluffy things. It's all it's all completely real, human generated by the way, story material. And so I shared it online and it got incredible feedback and
Wow.
incredible support. So that was
Wow.
version number 1. Then I did the
I'm
sequel.
sorry, before you dive into that, before you posted it to the gram, did you did you experience maybe a lot of anxiety or resistance in different ways? Like, did you lose sleep? Like, did that feel like its own hurdle to overcome before posting? Because you didn't know it would be so well received. So what was it to just put it out there, even though it was a homework assignment?
I had numerous meltdowns.
Yeah.
Took me it was supposed to be done in like a few days. And it's like, you know, her style of coaching's very like, we're gonna destroy the perfectionist. And I'm like, yes, and this is very sacred. Like I'm touching on some kind of more riskier topics, you know, and
Like these are the chords.
these are the chords,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't say it's like risky, but it's just more like I'm real time healing for these things from these things. So for example, I'll just share with the audience, you know, I'm in a good place with it now, but 4 years prior to me sharing this story, my mom died by suicide. And so it's like I'm still learning how to even talk about that. That word is often censored. It's very just like it's kind of this like thing that we just like can't even look at, you know, as a society, but it needs attention. And so that segues into like my storytelling is I'm having this like complete breakdown. I'm like, as I'm just going through, first I'm starting the story like, I was born in Rochester, New York to an
Yeah.
Italian family. And then I was so creative. And then I became a nurse. And then this, and then COVID. And then my mom died. And I was just like, oh, this poor girl. So I'm like having this breakdown. But really what defines my story are like all of these mystical, synchronistic moments that like I'm trying to translate to people like this is what like magic is. This is what it means to have a relationship with the afterlife because I have a really strong relationship with my mom from the afterlife. And it goes way beyond like, oh, I saw 1111 and it reminded me of my mom, or I saw a butterfly. It's like I just
Sure.
these like really like potent moments where she like left me this like clue. And it's like I pick up this like clue on this like scavenger hunt of my life. And it's like, wow, she's really assisting me from the other side. So I'm like trying to tell that story. And then this ends up happening when I'm putting together the story. I find a clue from her. So I am like looking for pictures of her to put in the story. And I go on her Facebook. And there's this Facebook post that she posted in 2018. It's a picture of me. It's a candid snapshot of me on a flyer. So I went to this suicide awareness walk, fundraiser walk in 2018. Before I was connected to this topic, before my mom died, I just cared about mental health and I was a nurse. And I was like, yeah, let's do this fundraiser. They snap a picture of me. They put it on a flyer. They put this flyer in like hospitals and like random places in Rochester. And on the flyer, over my body, it says, I can be a leader to stop suicide.
Whoa.
And my mom posted it in 2018.
I have full body chills.
I know. I know. I know. She posts the on her Facebook, she has a picture of the flyer and she goes, my baby superstar. And then she died 4 years later.
Wow.
And I didn't know I'd be like so personally affected. Like I already cared. I was already like,
Sure.
but it's like I didn't know I would like, wow, be so personally affected. And so it was like this crazy like foreshadowing of the path I would end up walking. And so I'm like struggling to tell my story. And when I find this Facebook post, it was like the reality glitch, you know, like just what did you really just give me this so I can tell the story, which is also your story. And it's like the story of so many, like, thank you so much. And it's like in that moment, it's like it instantly did not become about me. Instantly became like a story that is like, it's this like archetypal story. It's like the story of pain. It's like the story of magic. It's a story of like being connected to someone from the other side. It's like the story of the spiral of life and how it's just so trippy and like all these like meta cognitive, like these meta understandings. These are things we see in psychedelic experiences. It's like we don't even know how to like translate to people. We can say this, I can say the word synchronicity as much as I want. But that doesn't even like really paint the picture as like let me bring you on a little journey, and it's going to have some foreshadowing, and then we're going to go down the rabbit hole. And then you're going to, it's like once the story's finished, people go, they have the same reaction that you did, and all these things click into place. And it's like,
Right.
it's like almost like encoded with this like subliminal message. It's like saying something without saying something. And this is what all great authors do too, right? Like this, how they weave in motifs and metaphors. And so anyways, I share my story. Shout out Rachel Bell because she gave me that push. I'm glad I took my time with it. It ended up being beautiful. I had people offering to publish my story, to feature my story. I unfortunately never followed back on them. So maybe this podcast is good encouragement for me to
Maybe so.
circle back.
You are a poster girl.
Oh, thank you.
She's not on a suicide flyer in Rochester. She's on some sort of marketing in Peru and soon to be like broadcasted for her own personal story. She is herself the poster child. I love it.
You know, I'm so passionate about this though, because like when I listen to other people's story, which I have another chapter that I'll talk about with that, everyone is the protagonist of the coolest movie ever. You know, like when I step into someone else's movie, I'm like, this is so fucking cool and layered with metaphor and all these different symbols and motifs. So, you know, there is definitely no superior story. Obviously, it really is just like this, like a snowflake that's really unique to you. And there's nothing you need to do other than learn how to tell it. So Rachel ended up doing like a 30-day Instagram posting challenge to like let's stay in this rhythm and this groove with your personal brand, like start practicing making content. And so I thought to myself, okay, I want to take this storytelling idea and do it more and have so many different chapters I could tell. And they could be all these different like posts. And she's like, okay, day 1, share your story. So now she's having me tell my story again, but in a post, and it's like kind of a more condensed version.
Of course.
And again, like I get this great response. I end up generating some really cool opportunities, like through my work, through being like a ketamine nurse, I start attracting the right type of people through literally sharing it. And then the third thing that's a kicker also is synchronicity. So then about a month or 2 later, I'm catching up with a friend and he's like, hey, there's some people. He does not know my story, I don't think. So it was just really weird how he like thought to connect me. But he's like, there's some people in Colorado who have like these, they have a community that I really want to connect you to. I think that they would just be amazing people for you to know. There's like a lot of stuff in common. So I hop on a Zoom call with someone for their community and they're like, hey, we're having these story sharing retreats where you tell your story to some strangers. And we kind of honor it as like a little ceremony, no substances involved, but it's like, it's curated as like a round table experience or like coming around like the mythological fire, which is what we've been doing since ancient times, is gathering around the fire and sharing stories.
Well, there were definitely some ancestors there.
For sure.
Yeah.
So it's called Reself, and it was incredible. And he's like, yeah, Rachel Bell knows them. And I'm like, okay. And so when I get there, I'm like, oh, Rachel was here and she learned the storytelling technique. And like I'm like, oh, I see what's happening. Like there's this like awakening going on around like the story sharing. And so their program is, it was so beautiful. I have, I would love to show you an artifact that I have from it.
Please.
I have, I didn't know that they would be doing this, but I have a scroll. So it's, the butterfly is my symbol, one of my symbols. So each person had a different symbol and they gave me the butterfly. And then they gave me a like medieval scroll.
Fantastic.
And I have my story on here and like there's like gold decals. I'm not gonna undo it, but it's like it's a very medieval, like ornate, beautiful.
Is it like a calligraphy font?
It's in a calligraphy. It's like an old English calligraphy font, and it speaks of me like the protagonist of this movie, and it gives me this like archetypal title. It's like the she who walks the threshold walker, something like that. Threshold walker between worlds. So anyways, I end up with this beautiful piece of artifact that I get to reflect on when I get lost and I get doubtful of who I am and what I'm here to do on earth. But the most powerful thing about that experience is it's not about getting stuck in your story, getting stuck in the past. That's not what it is. It's a moment of empowerment and basically saying like, I am the author of my life. So there's some of those like themes woven in. So I get to be the author of my life, and I get to stay connected with this community and just share the magic of what they're doing.
I love it so much. It's really highlighting the power of witnessing for sure as one. And yeah, like helps us to scope out when we can't see the forest through the trees, that we're still on the path and that the path that we're on is perfect. Like that's where we're meant to be and where we're going, not to woe is me or get too stuck. Like even, you know, over the weekend when we were chatting and you were witnessing me navigate some more challenging moments in my own walk, there felt like a lift after that call where it was just like, it's not like anything changed. It just felt like a little bit lighter to carry. And then the days ongoing is almost just like putting it outside of myself, much like what you said, helped to lessen some of like the emotional static on it. And then also to just see like, but that's where it was yesterday. For me to keep saying that is rumination. For me to keep sitting in that is almost like a waste of Jules's time for being on the call with me in a sense. So now what? What is a way that I'm going to psychologically uplift myself to allow that to be another mark on my trail, but to help move me forward?
Well, no time has been wasted with you in general. And it's all part of it. Like when we see
Just thinking that.
our looping patterns. I mean, that's like what happened when I was in my experience in the Amazon and I was seeing like the healer's journey. What really made it click into place was me seeing like the 7-year cycles, like these different intervals of my life, these patterns. And I was like, wow, I am literally on this spiral ride. And I'm getting to relearn this thing, but in a new way. And sometimes it can look like just unproductive rumination patterns that I get stuck in, but also I see it as a journey of refinement.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Part of the evolution. Yeah, it's like giving the visual of a spiral versus a circle. So there is like a sort of graduation and an expansion inside of that refinement. And although you might revisit something, it's not completely the same, although it's mirroring a type of pattern, but that pattern is part of the story. That pattern is part of the like alliteration of your life, or the contrast or the foreshadowing and the metaphor, like all of those literary elements that are woven in to really just the whole point of why we're each individually here, the individual human experience.
So beautiful.
Your timeline with owning your story, I'm curious, when did you sit with me in hypno? That was
And
October?
in
Yeah.
December, I think.
Yeah.
December.
Okay. Yeah. I reached out to you in October, but we finally sat somewhere. How has, like, do you tracked any impact from that session? Um, do you mind if I share what your session was on?
Yeah.
Do you
Or
remember?
sorry,
It was,
no, I don't mind. Please
I
feel
understood.
free.
It was around your voice. You came to unlock your voice. So, do you track any of the work that we did in that session with your storytelling timeline? Does that parallel? Does that have a weave to it?
Yeah, well, I did the reselfing experience in February, so I did it like 2 months
Ah,
after that.
wow.
And also I was able to distill down a lot more of like my message, and take ownership of of my story, like not trying to be anything other. Um, yeah, so I found it very like a very helpful tool in all of that. And also seeing
So
my pattern.
beautiful. Wait, what do you mean by that?
So one thing that really stands out to me is when you did, I don't know if you'd call it regression, but like me going back into
When you
certain,
revisited the scenes, the moments
and
of your life.
yeah, they pretty much all had this theme of helplessness and feeling trapped.
Mm, mm,
And so that was a really powerful thing for me to look at and see where I've been playing victim,
mm,
uh, and just rising above that and realizing that I'm not powerless, that there literally is no muzzle on me. There's no rope around my neck. There's no anything. It's literally just a decision. Um, and in those moments of helplessness and those memories, a lot of that, like where I could have moved forward or where I actually did move forward and get unstuck, was literally using my voice to move reality, literally, to change a situation.
that's just magnifique. Yeah, like there was an empowerment, like we replaced helplessness with empowerment. Um, yeah, I had a question, but I'm seeing it all. I'm seeing it all unfold. I'm seeing like how it's, the timing of it. Do I always trust the timing of the sessions? And then even it felt challenging to stay in touch with you after, and even just trusting that process. And then when you finally did drop in, it felt like you were in sort of this like tornado of change, and you were like, "Hey, I'm okay. I gotta go. I'm busy. I love you." And then fast forward, and here we are, like, and you've kind of resurfaced, like, truly, transformed, like, really behind your voice in such a different way. Um, I remember what I was gonna ask. Uh, so seeing that part of the root of your issue is helplessness, during your integration, months 1, 2, and 3 after your session, did you find moments in your life where you were consciously saying, like stepping into a new version of yourself, where you had maybe felt the muzzle of helplessness, but were able to see it then instead of being victim to it? And then, like, can you describe, are there any moments that are coming up that you recognize that specifically, that like you said, it was literally a decision?
Mhm. Definitely. I mean, yeah, my life radically shifted after our hypno session. I essentially went through like a whole relationship shift, a whole deconstruction, a whole walking away from everything that I built and dreamed of. And just had to have faith that like my voice is like a vehicle of power that will get me to where I need to go. And
Uh-huh.
so I went into an experience of extreme cocooning, extreme like void of just like I nothing makes sense, but I know it makes sense. So that might have more to do with my intuition. I would say that there's a lot more like intuition, gut, trusting, heart healing going on.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
also, but part of that trust is knowing that like my voice will catch me,
Mm.
that I'm
Mm.
not helpless, I'm not a victim, that in many regards I chose this. Through
Mm.
my voice, I chose to step out of one life and into another one. And in that new one is it's where my voice is more powerfully heard and more activated.
Is there a lot of grief that you've needed to navigate in the transformation? And do you feel like that was harder or easier or not or neither? Just is. Do you understand my question?
Yeah, grief is always hard.
Yeah.
Um, so yes, absolutely. And I would say that, it's still with me. And also I've learned to befriend it because I know that it's what gives life dimension and color, oddly enough. So, and also it is the gateway to all of the most fabulous pieces of art and creations. Like any like prolific artist is like deeply befriended grief. I that's a pattern I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
Because you kind of get
Mm-hmm.
cornered by grief. Like there's this kind of just like desolation that can come over you where there's almost like or this like rock bottom. It's like there's nowhere else to go but to do something with all of this material and like turn the shit into gold or something beautiful.
Alchemize it.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm. Ah, life is so humbling, huh?
Yeah.
Did you, I know when we sat in session, we really talked about your life without the problem, without the block. And it's, I know that hypnotherapy works. And then when I'm seeing it happen in real time, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's working. But are you surprised into the chapter that you stepped into? There's so much of where you were around the time of our session was like achieved. You had reached a goal that you were working towards, and then it fell away. So what was that like? And that journey of faith towards a new horizon that was maybe not so clear, or was it clear?
Yes. I do feel very much like I've stepped into a place that I've been craving all along, which
Mm-hmm.
I'm a human being. Like of course I still care what people think, and I'm not gonna act like, oh, I just don't care what anyone thinks, like ever. Yeah, like fuck everything. Like I wouldn't say that, but one thing we say in my circle of friends is like reallocating your fucks. So it's like learning how to reinvest them, and I feel like
Mm.
I've become like a smart investor of them. And
Mm.
places where I used to give them so much energy are almost like childish or comical to me. And, it's a certain level of confidence and owning your story, sharing your story, activating your voice, not hiding in the shadows of other people's light, even if they're just gonna sweep you up and light you up. It's like there's some kind of like sourcing your inner fandom, your inner supporter,
Cheerleader.
inner cheerleader. It's like I could have only achieved that in my grief pocket, my most recent grief pocket. No matter how many insanely beautiful people are like, Jules, you're the best. Jules, you're so talented. There's like
Mm-hmm.
some part of me that's like, I must go into the underworld to find it.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only place.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of like what I'm trying to understand about the architecture of my soul. Because I mean, there's plenty of people who I think can resonate with it, but I tend to really like that is my pattern. That is just where I go. And that's also where I rise from.
Mm. Mm-hmm. What does it look like to befriend your grief?
Well, man, so that's so loaded. Um, I mean, feeling it for sure, like having patience with it. Um, I mean, we all want to fast forward through it. It
Yeah.
does not matter to me how intimate I become with it. I'm a death doula, nursing, all the changes and shifts. Like, it is like the most humbling teacher, and it's the teacher that connects us all. It's the one we're all
Mm.
trying to escape from because nothing is ever constant. Like, only constants change. Um, so I think it starts with making peace with maybe that concept. Um, Also just reminding yourself that of those 5 cycles of grief or those 5 stages. So they'd be, denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. And just getting intimately familiar with the fact that they are nonlinear and you're gonna, like, loop with them. You might bounce between 2 of them for a while and just kinda letting it play out. So not fighting grief, getting still, and, for me nowadays, it's just leaning into the parts of my story and being like, "Okay, I've been here before."
Mhm.
Like, there will be a rainbow on the other side. So that does just maturity, like,
Sure.
just moving through life, and having experience with it certainly helps.
I mean, that's metaphorically, of course, but do you feel like you have less fear around dying, like parts of you falling away? Like that grip on holding doesn't feel as strong?
So long as I express myself, yeah.
Hmm.
The most
Hmm.
painful thing is the thought of, like, not having done the thing, not having
Mm.
shared the story. So I have these moments of release where I'm like, "Ah, I can die happy." And then I'll, like, have inspiration or this urge to do something. It doesn't have to be art necessarily, but it could be, like, some kind of project that I wanna birth, and it's that kind of drive, that maybe is where, like, the anxiety comes in of, like, urgency. I didn't
Mm.
do the thing, I didn't complete the mission,
Mhm.
um, but overall, yes, I would say it has lessened. And just to circle back to your question around, befriending grief,
Yeah.
the tool that's been, one of the most potent actually for me is singing.
Hmm.
Singing singing has really helped me move grief, like, amazingly.
In what way? Like a cappella? Are you using a buffalo drum? Do you have a shaker? Like what's your what does it look like to you? Are you walking around the house singing? Do you sit down and light a candle, play the
Yeah,
piano?
a cappella, I sing when I go for walks, I just sing around the house, I sing outside in nature. I have a tongue drum, so I sometimes will, like, it's kinda sounds like a xylophone, so I'll maybe do
Mhm.
a little bit of that, and also singing with people and
Mhm.
being, like, literally having my voice heard. So I kind of always stayed in the realm of, like, visual arts, dancing. I had, like, a story of, like, I'm not musical, though, like, that's other people's thing, it's not my thing, but really, um in my opinion, like, we all have a little bit of everything. Like, all the modalities, we all have, like, a little access point to it. So, um, having people hear my voice and hear me sing has been miraculously powerful.
How are you doing that? Are you in like a songbook circle? Are you in a kumbaya moment?
I would say it's kumbaya. It's literally like, "Hey," like, the friends that I sing with the most live in Louisiana, so they're just like, "Hey, we made some etouffee, we made some gumbo, you wanna come over?" We eat, and then we have, like, a bonfire, and we just get around the circle.
Kumbaya.
Yeah, we just jam,
Amazing.
and there's usually one person that brings like a bunch of shakers.
Great.
So I'll
Yeah.
get on the shakers. I sometimes get on the djembe.
I see that for you.
Yeah, I do love a good djembe moment.
Are you singing Ikaros? Are you singing like songs that really just speak to the message of love and joy and good sensation? Or are you getting down with some Bob Dylan? Like, what does that look like for you?
Yeah, a combination of medicine songs and like random tunes that I just really love that to me are also medicine
Yeah.
songs.
Yeah.
Um, I love really soulful oldies. Um, so maybe it's like Simple Man, or it could be like Led Zeppelin or something, or it could be like a song by Yaima, which is more like the, you know, ceremonial new age crowd. And then
I don't think I'm
some
as familiar actually with that
oh
one.
yeah, okay. Yeah, you would love Yaima. They'd be in like the Rising Appalachia crowd.
Oh, got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So like that type of
It's
vibe.
like Hillsong for hippies.
Right. I think so. And
Yeah.
yeah, so I just have like little pearls. Like they're just songs I've collected over the years. Fleetwood Mac. It could be a song in Spanish.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
just
Yeah.
whatever inspires me. And then
Is it?
we've done some like improvising too, like some looping, not with a
Oh,
looper, but like someone might get like a little guitar hook,
yeah.
and then someone might start like humming and singing a tune, and then we'll kind of like layer over each other and harmonize. So that's a really fun exercise.
I agree. I've been involved in those circles as well, and it is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It always amazes me how I come out vibrating, like just high, just from the use of breath and sound together and the impact that has on my body. I I stopped smoking at the beginning of January, and almost immediately I joined a group that we would learn medicine songs or songs that like similar like what you're describing, just on the intention of like just learn this song and sit with it and sing. So I understand the power and the impact of singing in such a different way. And mind you, it's not like I'm going around town trying to like, bring my little guitar and pop up. At least not yet. But I started the podcast. I have never written so many letters to my senator and my congresswoman. Like I found my political voice in a different way. And I too started speaking out on Instagram in a little bit more of a less filtered way, but also um, with a higher awareness around impact. So it's not about just opening the hose and shooting the water wherever it may go. It's also really respecting the element of water for that metaphor. It's also understanding, like, okay, this is a platform that I have a lot of power to speak from, and I can say anything, but that doesn't mean I have to say everything. And can I speak with intentionality behind that too? Like, what is asking to be spoken about right now?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Love that.
Cool. Is there anything else around the voice that feels important to share? Or I love that little deep dive on grief that we explored for a second. Thank you so much for all that you've shared thus far and the places you were willing to go um, with me. And yeah, is there anything else that's coming up that feels hot?
I mean, the only thing really is I feel like I'm in real time now, like having my own uh deeper level of understanding around the voice and just how much I've downplayed it throughout my whole life. Like knowing it's important, knowing it's powerful. Yes, words create our reality and thoughts create our reality, but even in this moment I'm having a lot of my own things click into place, and it feels really good to be here. Uh this is only my second podcast I've ever done. So it feels, yeah, I guess anyone's listening, it feels more and more natural. Um, I have also practiced a little bit of public speaking
Mm.
lately, and
In what
it's
way? What did that look like?
so I was at this like leadership training, this
Oh,
conference, and they just encourage people to take the mic and introduce who they are and speak their vision. So I've gotten more and more practice on speaking my vision, which has been really
yeah.
powerful. And yeah, I think just again, like dismantling my own beliefs from the past that no one cares about your vision is stupid, when really speaking your vision is literally like what moves people forward, what compels people. It's what bends and creates almost like a gravitational field around you to make shit happen. And when you do so by publicly speaking, you go out and amplify it, and it just
Mm-hmm.
is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Who might end up wanting to get in contact with you or take your business card or get closer to you. So, um, and it's just really humbling too. Public speaking is like the either number one or second most common fear. It's like
Mm-hmm.
fear of heights, fear of death, and public speaking.
Yeah. 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 Mm-hmm.
I'm just having more reverence for that modality in general, and podcasting as well.
Oh, I see you podcasting so hard and super honored to get help kick it back off for you. I mean, how beautiful too that it's like there's no coincidence to the poetry that this is Speaking of the Voice podcast, that's um when I oh my gosh, even so we reconnected last weekend just as friends. Like you posted something online and I think I don't even remember the message that I sent to you as much as just being like, I see you and like you're doing great and keep going. Isn't something like that. We got on a call and then yesterday I just had the idea like, oh, I would love to record a conversation with you. I wasn't even thinking what we would talk about. I wasn't even thinking like, is that relevant? I just trust like it just felt so right. And then when I pitched it to you and I sent you a couple links and the logo came up and you were like, oh my God, I just put that same image on my website a few days ago. I was like, threw my phone across the room. I'm like, sometimes it's so loud and in your face of like, be here right now, like, hello. That you're like, oh, there it is. I've been trying to tell you. So the alignment of that and the timing is just really stunning. And all of that to say this too, that of all the years that I've worked so closely with the voice, I'm consistently jaw dropped, astounded at the depths that are still waiting to be opened. And I'm just sort of at peace that it's infinite, that there's only more that you can uncover and that you can explore. If I could just share really quick today, I took a viewpoints class. Do you know what that is? Okay. Viewpoints is a type of movement class that you use the floor. I'm going to explain this the best that I can. Use the floor as a grid that you move through space and you're constantly checking in with your relationship to other people in terms of speed, kinesthetic movement, space, shape, for example, rhythm, even. And it was me and this other girl and then the teacher. And the root of this viewpoints class was like connect with your ancestors. I was like, I'm so there. I'm so there. That sounds really cool. Which ultimately was a lot of exercises around us mirroring each other and moving at the same time, which was very helpful in tuning into subtle energy. And then and there's kind of these like weird things that you're just like, what are we doing? But if you really remove judgment and you just do it, there's so many little breakthroughs that can happen. It sounds similar. The breakthroughs felt similar when you were describing your friend that came to your painting nights and he was just like, oh, this and oh, this. Very similar in this viewpoints class. But there was one exercise where we did where one person stated reality. They did like everyday tasks like making a coffee or texting or going to pick out your clothes in the morning. And then the other person was the ancestor, or ultimately like a disruptive energy. And I was the ancestor first, and this girl was just on her phone, wouldn't look up from her phone, hunched over her shoulders. And I gave myself the challenge of not touching her. And I found myself like slashing the air, trying to get her attention, throwing a temper tantrum that I couldn't get her to connect with me. That all she was doing was hunched over here, like pointing up to the sky, like, look up, get off your phone. And then she gets off her phone and she looks around and she's bored and she gets back on her phone again. And the frustration in that, but there's something in that exercise where I'm like, oh, I really am connecting to the ancestors. Like, how many times are our guides or is the spirit realm trying to get our attention, but we're not looking up from our phone. We're not looking up our grief. We're not looking up from our shame or our guilt or our smallness to just look up and be like, oh, there's so much more to uncover. There's so much more to experience. And there's connection right out in front of me if I just look up and touch it. That was a messy and cool way of saying there's so much more to uncover. And sometimes it's very much we didn't speak during that exercise. And all of that movement, how that uncovered the voice for me even more of really saying the thing, getting off the phone to stop scrolling or to use the phone in a different way. Yeah, also an invitation to try things that are weird, that are strange, that feel difficult, like telling your story, like going to a viewpoints class at a cultural center because it's there and available and you can. That's another thing. You can do it. So to shift that power of choice from turning off your phone to going out and trying something new is going to unlock so much more than you can possibly imagine for yourself. And likely the dreams that you've somewhere along the way believed aren't for you anymore or aren't possible to touch.
Mm-hmm. That was beautiful. Yeah,
Thanks. Does it inspire anything to share for you? Any response?
for sure. Well, I
Great.
super resonate with the breakthrough of doing weird things, especially when we want to judge them. I've had to like really look at like certain things that I'm doing in my life that are like completely foreign and be like, wow, I've been so self-righteous, and I've been in this like spiritual silo and bubble. I'm like, wow, there's so much freedom outside of it. Who would have thought? And also in meeting new parts of myself.
Yeah.
I want to meet new parts of myself, or else life is really boring and it's like repetitive. Um, and I completely agree that I think that we have um a spiritual guidance on the other side that is constantly trying to get our attention. And oftentimes they're pointing us to things that are like right in front of our face or things that are embedded right in our story. So it really is, I think you're speaking to a lot of like, um, you are what you seek. It's just like it's right under your nose.
Mhm.
We're all trying to like kind of reach outside, reach for something, someone to save us, some certificate.
Mm. But it's us getting out of our own way when you were describing seeing that helplessness that you released in our hypno session and then making the consistent decision afterwards of no, I can speak. No, I'm not helpless. I do have my power about me. That is you making the choice. That is you being human generated to bring it back to our dependence on technology and our dependence on and constantly giving away our power to the machine. And that could be quite literally AI or the machine of the matrix or the machine of just how our society works and quote unquote like fitting in, um, and stepping further and further away from ourselves, from our story, from what makes us a unique snowflake, what makes us authentic, and leaning in and getting lost in the abyss of same, of trend, of fitting in, which is really only exasperating the disconnection, the dissonance, that separation from self.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Yep.
understanding magnetism so much more from this conversation. Thanks for entering that into the chat. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. We just gotta let our freak flag fly, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. That sounds like a really fun art night to make a freak flag.
Make
Make a literal freak flag. What color is it? What shapes are on it?
like
What
your
shape
crest
is
on
it?
there.
What did you say?
Like your crest on it,
What
like
does your
whatever.
crest even look like? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, yours
To-
is definitely something with a threshold or
yeah,
thresh walker, threshold walker.
definitely.
Um, this has been really wonderful. Thank you. You know, I was thinking of many times that our call, life is a ceremony. You know, whether you sit in a ceremony with plants or with music or um art or whatever it might be, really everything that we enter into is a ceremony if we're allowing it to be, if we're paying attention and allowing it to have an impact on us, and an impact of a way of, are we progressing or are we regressing? To Brené's point, it's when something falls stagnant or is missed, it's not benign. Like over time it festers and it grows some stuff on
Mhm.
there, um becomes malignant, right? Versus when we're allowing things to, I totally lost my train of thought. I went off on a little Britney tangent.
Mhm. You know the words coming is like flow.
Yeah, I'd like it to flow back into my thought station. Hmm. What can I say? I need to have a little lunch. Do you remember what I was saying?
Life is a ceremony.
Thank you. Thank you so much. um Everything can be a phone call can be a ceremony. Sitting down with a friend, sitting down with a blank piece of paper and doodling for 15 minutes, a breathwork journey. All of it can be a trip to the grocery store. It's all in how much are you paying attention? How much are you allowing it to affect you? And then what do you do with that information? That's where like that stuck tangent came on. What do you do with that information? How do you integrate it? How do you allow it to change you? Yeah, the progressing versus regressing. Mhm. Yeah.
For sure. For sure.
Anything else before we close out?
Hmm. Just that I love you and I'm grateful for
I
this
love
conversation.
you.
This was really cool.
Yeah. It's really cool. I think that's what was inspiring my little ceremony tangent, is it's felt like a ceremony with you in this last week of how it started, how the middle was, and who am I to say if this is the ending, but there's definitely feels like um something has been graduated and lifted and moved into and expanded. And I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for your mirroring, for your friendship, for your sisterhood. And I'm so excited to see what comes next for us in voice, in story, and yeah, just in life in general.
Aw, same sister. This was really great and I'm really glad to
Thank
be
you.
encouraged in this way to share more. And you're awesome at this.
Thanks. You're a really easy guest. You're grounding, to say the least. So thanks
Okay,
for
good.
that too.
Oh, good. I'm happy to hear that because I know I can take us way, way into like Alice in Wonderland.
Who are you talking to? Look at my earrings. I'm ready to fly away right now.
Yeah.